Yo, welcome to another Brain Dead. Um, Today I kind of want to, I guess I've been thinking about the economy and kind of recession talk, and I guess I just want to lay out my thoughts on that. Um, Today, just kind of listening to whatever YouTube kept bringing up, just CNBC clips and Bloomberg, whatever things that they talk about throughout the day. Um, I guess my general sense of like what it kept bringing up was throughout the various interviews that they did throughout the day is that the outlook is that we are going into recession, and I forget the each individual person and what they said, but this is kind of the sentiment that I was spelling, I guess. Yeah, or that we're heading into a recession, um, like kind of saying things here or there about how the Biden administration is changing what the definition of a recession is, and yeah, that was kind of the flavor that I was getting. And I guess I just want to say how I think the economy is going. I think personally that we just are exiting a recession. I think that recession has already happened. Like, I think no doubt um, the economy slowed down. People felt financial pain. Um, but to me, it feels as if that is leaving. That is a be behind us thing. And I think there could be some truth in what the Biden administration was saying, with like Janet Yellen or whoever said it, just that the current definition of recession might not be the most indicative uh, kind of indicator of how an economy is doing. I think like fundamentally we have to think about, are we producing more stuff than we previously were? And that is kind of what GDP is even trying to measure to begin with. But GDP is going to be a less accurate measure the more that we start messing with, like, because GDP is just dollar kind of rooted. Like, it's how many dollars were exchanged that period. Okay, now uh, the money supply is drastically increased. Prices are all different. Like, so that could, uh, on the flip side, that could like be show that we're not in a recession when we are, and perhaps that happened kind of in the COVID era a little bit, and I don't know, that could just be throwing this whole ability to measure when we were in a recession uh, a lot harder. Like, it ultimately should root down to, are we making more stuff than we did last quarter, or if that's how you're measuring it, is the quarter to quarter, since kind of the traditional definition is 2 quarters in a row of negative GDP. Well, that we seem to have, yeah, had a technical recession to that definition. Um, but I feel like it will be just be kind of impossible to know the actual economic output. To me, it seems like it was probably, yeah, we had a period there where we started decreasing. I mean, I'm a DoorDasher, so just I saw it. It's like, okay, less people are purchasing this service now. Like, to the degree it's pretty like in real time economic sentiment kind of conveyor. It's like for a little bit there's like a drought of like horribly cheap orders and hardly any orders like per night. And so yeah, that was like a pretty sparse time period. But that that's already peaked in its severity, and we are now moving into like today. It was very prosperic, and I was making bank doing the door dashing. So it's like uh, at least on the margin, more chicken sandwiches are being sold this quarter than it seemed to have been last quarter. And like, look at Tesla, they're gonna have more production this quarter than they did last quarter. And like, yeah, it seems like we're doing more stuff collectively as humans now this quarter. And with gasoline coming down, like, well, if that's kind of our fundamental fuel for our economy, are we doing less stuff or more stuff when the thing that powers the stuff we do is cheaper? We're probably doing more stuff. And yeah, I don't see why it would be the case that we are going into recession when the economic machine is now just more moving, is turning on. It had like been kind of dulled and shut off a little bit, and now it is getting back on its rails and starting to go again. And to me, that doesn't seem like what recession should be. Like, are we measuring it back until we're to the production level that we were before it started dipping? I don't know. And if that is what you refer to as a recession, that whole kind of cycle until you're back to the previous high, or to the previous like production output, then yeah, maybe we're still in the trough, but we're like digging our way back up to that point right now. Like, we're on the upswing, not the downswing at the moment. And I guess to me, the recession should kind of refer to the top to the bottom rather than top to top. And so I think we are on the upswing up from the bottom to the top now. And uh, yeah, like maybe like stuff probably oscillates, and like information kind of lags out, so like certain effects take a little bit to like kind of kick into effect, of like something happening a month ago might now be like hitting the other side of the economy, and its effects have how like those waves propagated like tomorrow or something. But so this thing could like have like its periods of kind of ups and downs, and this is just a period, and it'll swing back the other way. But I think each swing is like reducing in amplitude. Like, if you're kind of looking at it as like a wave thing that's going up and down, like each wave's going to get a little bit smaller, it seems like to me, until we kind of like are finding what that like middle point is supposed to be for this new money supply, and um, how much labor is available and how much stuff that can produce. And uh, I think this has also kind of kickstarted some like of the new age technology, like EV adoption. Like, the Ford CEO is saying like how he could have never predicted how fast this is going. Um, and like certain technologies that seem to be gripping hold quicker. Like, look at the Palantir earnings. Like doesn't seem like traditional investors were liking it because it didn't report like income or whatever. But okay, at the same time, their freaking customer base has grown like 119% or something like that year over year. Maybe it's like 190, I forget, of like, yeah, of commercial customers. And government grew and like 20% or something. But okay, well, their whole model is like, hey, we kind of give it to you for free until you can test it out. And like pretty much everyone that has ever tested it out started like implementing more and more. And the more and more you implement it, the more and more profitable it gets, to up to like the extent it becomes like 80% margins or so, contribution margins. And like, yeah, this just felt like it was a filter to start grabbing onto the things that make you more economically like feasible. Uh, and that, so it's kind of like a filter of like what is actually the good tech that improves the world, and what is the kind of like tech that we didn't actually really need, like doesn't have as much of a role. And I think this is kind of a divergence in the economy where like good shit is getting separated from the not good shit, and we're starting to see who that is. And um, yeah, so I think this could be an interesting market coming forward, of just kind of a splitting of like who are the legit companies and who are not. And the legit companies, I think, will be very prosperous, and the investors of those companies will do very well. And I think this is the upswing of that. Like, yeah, maybe in 3 months or something like that, it's all right, here's another like gloom period. But I think that gloom period will be less severe than the previous gloom period, and um, probably like shorter also in time. And I think technology is this kind of underlying force that is pulling everything up, and it had its hiccups, but it still was building throughout that whole time. And so it should still intrinsically be more valuable than it was like a year ago, 2 years ago. Um, and so yeah, I think just with inflation seeming to be easing, it just seems intuitive to me that uh, production of stuff that was price related should now be able to recover. Like, um, now that everyone feels like they can spend a little bit more and aren't like as poor as the previous weeks, like at least on the margin, more chicken sandwiches are gonna be made, and then probably more video games are gonna be sold, and like, yeah, then uh, just things that we had to cut out is now more able to be kind of like implemented into our lives, and that should constitute as more production. It's new thing, more value that was created from this economy than in the previous week or the previous quarter. And so, yeah, I think recession is behind us. I don't agree with people that are thinking that it's still to come. I don't see why that would be the case. Like, just thinking plainly about what an economy is, it seems that the hiccups are resolving rather than uh, still like out there. Like, it doesn't seem like there's like looming like credit default things that happening. Like, that stuff seemed to have been fairly resilient, and uh, now it's just kind of how fast can we get back to producing shit, and I think that's speeding up, and I'm pretty excited to see this like next wave of quarters of like, yeah, who are the companies that are really starting to ramp it up. And I mean, obviously I think Tesla's going to be that. By like, no one can really imagine like where they're going in the next like 5 years, but I mean, some people can, I bet, but it's not like the common consensus of they're going to be like outrageously outperform. But shit, what else was I going to say? I had something else. And like, who knows, also crypto with the ETH merge, that could be an economic driver also. Like, now that this network can handle like some magnitude more amount of like transactions, can the blockchain just now facilitate some magnitude larger amount of like stuff that previously couldn't have? That should have to be viewed as like economic output. More stuff is happening digitally, like that's still value created, economic value, and um, yeah, that could be another like its own economic ramp still to come. And yeah, I think the economy is a getting better thing. But okay, I guess, yeah, I got those thoughts out. So, all right, thanks for watching. I gotta go make my dinner. But subscribe, comment, and do YouTube stuff, and I guess like it. Okay, bye bye.